The apartment was Grinch bare now, spotless. Fridge cleared and cleaned, freezer defrosted. Vincent must have had some help getting things moved out. I think he still knew people here from high school, a couple of guys from his band who'd never left town. The night I came back from my microcorg, all the money from the bedroom floor was on the coffee table under a scented candle. I checked the fan of bills then for a note, but refused to take Vincent's cash. Now, the money was rolled up and tucked inside a mason jar in the center of the floor. I took the cash, aimed all the president's heads in one direction and counted. After a second count to confirm, I put the money in my purse and looked down at the jar. Still no note. Vincent hadn't made a single attempt to contact me. No tearful, drunken apology, no absurd, semi-sober explanation filled with lies and science fiction. He had an established history of losing phones, but I knew for damn sure he had my number. It was written in Sharpie on the inside of his belt, a habit he adopted in the days before cell phones to supplement his poor memory for numbers. A few months after we moved in together, I brought home a bottle of wine on a Friday night, and we split it to celebrate our pigeon anniversary. Vincent announced he would make dinner, took my debit card, and left the apartment in our car. He phoned 2 hours later, drunk and nearly unintelligible, wanting a ride home. I took a cab and found him passed out on top of a crushed grocery bag of salmon, lemon, new potatoes, and pesto in the bottom of a phone booth at the Beacon Hill Red Apple Market. He was still clutching one end of his belt, our home phone number visible like a clue prized from the hand of a dead man in a French noir film. That incident marked the beginning of the end of Vincent's golden age of drinking, ushered in a period of steep decline where it became increasingly difficult for me to watch him wave a red flag in my face and still see that shit as funny or cute. The last time he did this, I wrote a letter. An intervention was never an option because Vincent had no family, didn't have any real friends or a proper job to lose like a normal alcoholic. I did my best to diplomatically depict my situation and illustrate the contrast between the way Vincent was living and the life I wanted to create with him. I leveraged my rage, my happiness, my faith in our relationship. I marketed myself as a fun buddy, a supportive partner, a matter-of-fact nurse, a strict prison matron, a worried mommy, some kind of a martyr. I wasn't accustomed to having a boundary hold with Vincent. What had I written in that last letter? I felt like an absent-minded witch who'd struggled 1,000 times to perfect a spell but didn't pay attention to the final successful formula. I used the apartment bathroom for the last time. Remembered kicking Vincent when I found him face down on the floor. Recalled how I gagged at the smell of alcohol on him, fuming from him, and how I kicked him again. Stepped over him to use the toilet. He mumbled, rolled like a seal, and said something about bears, rifles. I hated his face then, checkered like chicken wire from the hexagonal tile floor. Watched the alcohol drag him back down, a poisoned dumb animal growling, then unconscious at my feet. I jabbed a heel hard into his hip when I reached for the toilet paper and found a bare brown tube. Now I hiked my skirt and gathered it in a rumpled bouquet against my waist. Sat knock-kneed and peed beside a fluffy new roll of tissue, overhanging end folded to a point like the tip of a 2-ply necktie. I looked around the beautiful bathroom, pristine, clean and empty, warm with light. I had always loved the tile work in here.